Hey, good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm actually currently on my way to Salt Lake Community College where I'm gonna give blood, hopefully. I'm not a huge fan of giving blood because I just kind of tend to hang out at right in the area where I'm not anemic, but where I sometimes can't give blood with my iron level being just 0.2, 0.3 too low. So I think giving blood is a good thing, but I've gotten kind of annoyed with trying to make appointments and then my iron being slightly too low. But I'm gonna give it a shot, and here's why. This is pretty much the only free way to get a COVID-19 antibody test right now. And because we had COVID in my household about 2 months ago, I thought it would be interesting to get that. And what does this all have to do with grad school? Unfortunately, not that much, because in order to go to campus, we do have to get a negative PCR test, so the nasal swab or the saliva test. At least we have to get it 2 weeks before we come to campus, and we do have to maybe get it throughout the semester. I'm not sure on that yet. So unfortunately, having antibodies won't exclude me from that requirement. However, I think that if I had antibodies, it would make me feel a little more confident going to campus. So that didn't work again. I always hang out in not anemic, but not quite enough hemoglobin to donate, so maybe it's just not meant for me to know. Just got off 2 Zoom calls. We had our final summer book club for our class, and then our first Zoom debrief. So yeah. Oh, Buddy's crying. He always does that. That's kind of going to be our way of socializing this semester, I think, is doing Zoom happy hours or sad hours or complaining hours, whatever we need. We're talking about how the semester starts in 2 weeks, and we don't really feel prepared, and we feel a little discombobulated with everybody being in different places and having different situations. And then we got a Google form that was like, can you teach a class to people with intellectual disabilities? And I was like, I don't know, can I? So we're stressed over here, but we're definitely looking forward to the beginning of the semester so we can get a little bit of a better idea of what the heck is going on. So since I brought up the COVID-19 antibody test that didn't actually end up working out, I thought I'd just spend the vlog talking about how grad school is going to be different so far because of COVID. So as I've alluded to, we are starting classes entirely online. We are going to be online, and not just me, because I'm in Utah. We're actually going to be entirely online as a program until September 21st at the, I guess, soonest. And then depending how things go with our college and other colleges, we may get to go in person if we're there, which I won't be there by the 21st anyway. So unfortunate but true. I will not probably be going in person until the middle of the semester, if at all. But that's okay. So a lot of online learning. The only in-person classes that we can have at all are our Monday classes, which are Fundamentals of Genetic Counseling and Disability Studies. Disability Studies is the sub-in for our clinical rotation this semester. What we normally have is an internship throughout the semester where we basically serve people with disabilities in some way. We've replaced that with a study of disabilities, the Disability Studies course, and then there's probably going to still be some kind of service learning component, but more like teaching a Zoom class. And then Fundamentals of Genetic Counseling is going to be in person. Sometimes there are going to be role plays in that class. So that can be done in person or via Zoom. Our other 4 courses are pathophysiology, ethics, embryology, and I think there's one more, advanced medical genetics. And those are all going to be entirely online. And you can watch them asynchronously, but I will plan on watching them synchronously just to participate a little bit more. As far as rotations, I do feel like we are getting a little bit less of an experience with rotations because of the pandemic. Like I said, we're going to be maybe doing some kind of Zoom internship, but it was really important to me when I chose Sarah Lawrence to be my top pick that we had the disability rotation. I liked the focus on serving people with disabilities, understanding the needs of people with disabilities and in healthcare systems and in society. So I'm a little bit sad that rotation at least is not going to be as involved, if it still happens at all. But in the end, I think, we're doing the best we can for public health, and we will still we'll still get that experience. It'll just be a little bit different. The AC came on, so I had to evacuate that area. I was totally accepting of the fact that I may end up going to grad school all online from the beginning of my application cycle, so it does not bother me. I'm excited to be starting school either way, and even though it's going to look a little bit different, I think that we are still going to have a great experience. We're just missing out basically on partying. Free food and parties, which is a loss, but we're very fortunate to be able to proceed with our education, and I'm excited to get started. Okay guys, so to wrap up today, I wanted to speak to applicants a little bit. I wanted to talk about some of the typical advice I give versus the advice that I would give this year if you're applying during the pandemic. So first of all, I typically recommend shadowing genetic counselors and shadowing a lot of them, every specialty you can. Obviously, if you have this experience, it's a very positive experience and include it, of course. Some applicants this year won't be able to get that experience, especially if they're newer to the field in the past year or so. So I would recommend that you try attending virtual events, watching webinars, reading posts written by genetic counselors, following genetic counselors on GC Chat on Twitter, reading books related to genetic counseling, listening to genetic counseling podcasts. All of these things are going to be important experiences while we're not able to do as much shadowing in the current situation. The next thing, regarding personal statements, some typical advice for college essays in general is that you can write about a hardship. The thing about that, you definitely can write about some things that have been challenging to you and that have inspired you to pursue genetic counseling. I personally, for my Sarah Lawrence statement, wrote about a difficult time in my life and how it inspired me to be a genetic counselor. For this year, I would just caution, please do not write about COVID-19. The reason being, we have all gone through this together, and I can guarantee that no matter what got canceled for you, somebody else has had it worse throughout the pandemic, and you don't want to be trying to seek pity. So focus on what you have done and not what you were not able to do. Do not write about COVID. And last thing, I typically recommend that applicants seek some kind of face-to-face experience with counseling. So that could be being a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate for foster children, or it could be being a grief support counselor or something like that. These are good experiences. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been canceled. So if you are unable to obtain such experience, my current recommendation is that you translate whatever jobs and skills you have obtained into making you a great future genetic counselor. I personally spent the last year working in a call center, and I found this experience quite transferable, and I know you'll have transferable experiences too. So reach out if you want to talk about applications, and I'm wishing you all so much luck this year.